Welcome. We are live right now. We are live for late night coding session. Your main man, Trade Digital. That's what I go by with the coding. When it comes to coding, I'm sticking with Trade Digital. It fits well. Trade Digital 89. And let's get to it. So we're gonna be learning basic Python. Oh, let me erase my screen. I was just doing a little hashing. Let me erase that. All right, so we're going to be learning basic Python. Python coding language. We're going to just simple print statements, and then we'll be diving into for loops. And what should we do? And we'll do for loops, and we'll do a list as well. And then we'll do something challenging. We'll jump into arrays. 2D, three-dimensional arrays. I know I did it in previous videos, but it's just fun to do. It's so fun to do arrays, and it's so simple to really understand it. So let's get right into it. Oh, I see they took the string right now. All right, so let's get right to it. So what we want to create here, we're going to create simple print statements. The easiest thing to create is print statements. You print an input, and you're gonna do it in a string. Strings, that's where you print out words or letters or sentence. It's gonna be inside a string. So a string is these two quotes. That's a string. And that's what you print out. If you want to print out words or letters, it's gonna always be in a string. So a simple print statement we can do, hold on, let me make it a little bigger. So a simple print statement, you're gonna put print hello world. This, I know, is annoying for the serious coders out there. We're gonna print hello world, and the output we're gonna get is hello world, but it's in a string, so it's not gonna print out the string. The string is you're not gonna see the output of the string when you print hello world. It's gonna only print hello world. It's gonna print out what's inside that string, and what's in these parentheses as well. It's gonna print out. So it got to be inside the parentheses, and it got to be inside the quotes. It's gonna print hello world. You could put hello Trey, which is me. And they'll just put hello Trey. Simple. It's just simple print statements. Everybody should be able to understand that. You see that? Print statements. Now, if you want to put hello and then Trey, let's say you want to put it in a new line. So the new line is something. This is how you want to do it in a new line. So you want to put it in a new line. You're gonna put this slash right here, and you're gonna put N. So this represents new line. So it will say hello, and then under hello, it will say Trey. So you see it right here. Oh, wait, no, my fault. It won't say that. Something's not right there. Did I do something wrong? Oh, no. This is what we're going to do. My fault. So you got to put it right here. So it got to be the dash right here, then the new line, then you put Trey. This could represents new line. So you see right here, you see hello, then it says Trey. So always have to, so if you want to put something in a new line, you got to make sure you got to put that dash in right there. So it's going to be hello, and it's going to be Trey. If you want to put a space between it, you're going to put tab. And tab is going to give it a space between hello, and it's going to give a space between Trey. It's going to be a big behind space, but it's going to give you that space with new tab. So you see right there, hello Trey. So it'll give you that space when you put the slash, and then you put T, that represents tab. So you see right there. So just simple print statements. We're not going to go too far into this. You should be able to know how easy this is. You know, you can. So you want to use new lines. So you want to put favorite football teams. You could put Cowboys. You could put Cowboys, and you put new tab. You put new line. Then you could put Giants line, and then you could put Eagles, right? You could put Eagles. So when you print that out, so I'm just done right with this. Oh yeah. So use these tabs. My fault. They do get it does get a little confusing because people would see like this line, this dash as it. No, it have to be facing towards the left. Facing towards the left. So that's going to be the dash you'll be using. So when you print that out, it's going to print it out in order. So you see right there, it's going to print it out in order. All right, and then if you want to do new tab, just going to be, if you want to do the tab instead, it's going to be a space. So it's going to be a space between them, and here you go. It's just a space between the two teams. So we got that simple print statement, guys. We're not going to, dive in too much into that. Now we're going to have something create a list. So it's going to be called a list. We're going to create create a list. So a list, it's going to always be in these brackets right here. It's going to always be in these brackets, and we're going to put arguments in there. We could put a list of names. We could put numbers in there. We can put anything in there. And what it's going to do is going to print out everything in that list. And it's always got to be in these brackets. So we gotta create a variable. So we gotta name that list, and it's gonna print out all the items in that list. So we're gonna create hold up. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a few items in that list. So we're gonna create let me see. I just love sports. We'll create a list called basketball teams. Basketball teams. I know I love sports. Basketball teams. That's gonna be the name of our list. So in the list, we're going to name our basketball team. So we're gonna put Nets. And then make sure remember it always have to be in a string. We're gonna put Nets, Lakers. Oh, always got to be in a string because it won't print out. Lakers, and then last we'll put what team you can put? Heat. Let's put the Heat. All right. So that's our 4 teams, and then we just print it out, and then we print it out. We got to print basketball teams. That's the name of our list. So we print basketball teams, and it's going to print out all our basketball teams. But it's going to print it out in that list, just like that, in the list and the strings and all of that. So it's just going to print out all the items in the list. But how could we print it out without the brackets and the string? It's going to be something called a for loop. We can loop it for us to be able to print it out to look neat. But we're going to get into that in a second. We need to just understand how we can use lists, and how in the many tools we can use lists. Now, let's say I just want to grab one item in that list. So this is something called indexing. And what it does is we can grab a letter, or no, with a list right now, because it will have to be like A, comma, B, comma, like A string, comma. It had to be like that. But we got to make sure it's in a string. So we can grab a particular item in that list, and we just printing out that particular item. So what we can do right here in Python, they count 0 as a number. So it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3. So we can do this. So we can print, and or no, we can just do this since we already got our print saved. We can do that, and then in the brackets. See, if you wanna do a number, the numbers have to always be in the brackets. It has to always be in the brackets. That's how Python do it. So we want to grab the nicks. We want to grab only the nicks. We got to grab 0 because that's the first item in that list. That's the first item in that list is 0. So let me put it here so everyone can know. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is position 0, this is position 1, this is position 2, and this is position 3. So when we print this out, we should only print the nicks out, and we did that. So we took one item out that list, and that's the nicks. So those is fun tools you can use to use within a list. You can grab an item out of there, or you can grab 2 items out of there. Let's just put 2 right there. So what this does, it grabs 2 items in that list. So you see 2. So what it's going to do is going to grab 0, 1 is going to stop at 2 because it's 0, and then these bulletins represents running off. So it's going to grab 2 things. So it's going to be 0, 1 is going to stop at 2. So whatever position you want to stop at, you got to put that number of the position. So it's going to only grab nicks. It's going to only grab the nets, and you see it right there. So that's just cool ways to do it. So I wish it was somebody in the chat so they can learn something. So for example, we want to grab the Knicks. What we got to do? Grab the Lakers. We just put position 2, and then we grab the Lakers. Simple as that. Be able to grab the Lakers. So it's a very, very simple things. It's very simple and cool ways to take items out the list. Now we could get into for loops. Now you remember when we just print out a list, it adds everything. It prints out everything. The output is everything. The output is basically it prints out the list and the brackets and the string. We don't want that. We want to be able to not only print the Knicks, Nets, Lakers, Heat, but we could all print it. We could all print it down like an actual list, and that's what you want to do. So we got to do something called for loop. So for loop, let's put it right here. For loop is looping around. For loop is looping around in a list, because that's what we're doing in a list. For loop is looping around the list, so it's just looping. So it's going to print nets. Then it's going to print the first position nets. It's going to print the nicks. It's going to print this first position, which represents 0, is going to print the nets, and it's going to loop again. It's going to print the nets. It's going to loop again. It's going to print the Lakers. It's going to go basketball team. It's going to loop again and print the Heat, and that's the last thing it's going to print. So for loop is looping around in a list. So it's going to print. So it's going to print the Knicks. Then it's going to go back to basketball teams. It's going to print the Nets. It's going to go back to basketball team. It's going to print the Lakers. It's going to go back to the basketball team. It's going to print the Heat. So how do we necessarily do that? So what we'll do is we'll put for I, and I represents iterating. So it's iterating in this list. So it's looping and it's iterating through the items in this list. So for I in basketball team, that's the name of our list. We're going to print you're gonna print I. So I represents it's iterating. So it's gonna keep iterating through the list. So it's gonna check. So basketball team is gonna check. Okay, the first the first item in the list is Nets. So we're gonna print that out. Then we're gonna go back to the beginning. Then we're gonna print the Nets out. Then we're gonna go back to the beginning. Print the Lakers out. Go back to the beginning. Go print the Heat out. Go back to the beginning. There's nothing else in the list. I mean, in the list because the list is closed. And it's gonna print everything one by one. And so we have it here. So you see, it's a lot neater. It's like when we did the new line, but we did it in a for loop. So you see, Knicks, Nets, Lakers, Heat. So that's what the for loop was able to do. So now let's erase this, and we can also do a for loop doing a list of numbers. So we can put for I in range of 10. So it's gonna print 10 numbers. But remember, 0 is a number, so it's gonna really print 0 through 9. And then we print I. So it's looping. So now it's not looping the list no more. Now it's looping the range of 10 numbers, right? The range of 10 numbers. So it's just looping the numbers. So it's gonna print 0, then it's gonna go back to the beginning, print 2, then it's gonna go back to print 3, it's gonna go back to, it's printing out. So once that particular number is printed out, that number no longer exists. It's gonna exist at the output. The output is gonna exist. So it's gonna print it out. It's gonna print out one by one. And we got it here. So you see what it does? It prints out all the numbers. And remember, 0 counts as a number. So it's 10 numbers, but it's going to print out 0 to 9. So that's what it's going to print out. So pretty cool with that. And we might have to wrap it up. Let me see what the time frame is. Right now, 17 minutes. Yeah, that's about it. I just want to do simple coding for beginners. Just late night coding, so everyone can know and understand it. And like I said, I'm gonna end it with something difficult and challenging. I know it's just jumping the gun, but I just love doing this. All right, so we did for loops already. Is there anything else I want to do? All right, we're gonna create a hash. So for people out there that's big on cryptocurrency, this is like a challenging one. Cryptocurrency, and understand blockchain technology. Blockchain always have a hash, and the hash represents like the fingerprint of that particular block. Like look at it as when somebody put their fingerprint on there to get in a phone, nobody else can get into that phone because that fingerprint is their fingerprint. Somebody else use their fingerprint, it won't work. So everybody have their own hash. That represents that particular block in blockchain. So we're gonna just create a hash. And a hash, you use something called hexadecimal, a hexadecimal hash, which is numbers and letters, but it really represents all numbers. So 0 to 9, A to F. And then it scrambles like the numbers and letters, and then you will never guess or predict the outcome of that hash. So let's create it. So let's go call block hash. That's going to be the name of it. We go create a variable. Well, I got to teach you what a variable is, but just to close it out, block hash, and then we're going to create something. Oh yeah. So we got to put this library called import hash lib. So when we do more coding sessions, you'll understand. So when you want to add a particular or unique library, you always got to put import, but you have to pip install it first to your computer. It could be able to add it there. So we're going to put block hash equal hash lib dot SHA-256. So SHA-256 is security hash algorithm 256-bit. And what this does is it creates this hash that we're trying to create. So it's going to be 64 characters long, and it's shuffling and doing all these particular ciphertext, and it's going through this algorithm, and it spits out a hash using this method. So we can use something. So we could put, okay, we got to put bytes, of course, and then we got to put in a string. We could put any data. We could put I love Python, right? I love Python. So we put that in a string, and what it's gonna do is gonna create its own fingerprint. Like I said, your fingerprint is your fingerprint. So it's gonna create its own hash. So this I love Python is gonna have its own hash. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another variable called hash hash dig, and this is gonna represent digest hexadecimal hex, but it's gonna be called hex digest, which stand for hexadecimal. So what we're gonna do is we create another variable called hash dig, and we're gonna add it to block hash, because we want to grab all of this at SHA-256. We want to grab all of that, because that's going to generate the hash, and now we gotta add the hexadecimal now with the A's and the F. So it's going through this algorithm, the security hash algorithm, 256 bits. So it's going to create our 64 characters in it. And now right here, what we're going to do is called hex digest. This is stand for hexadecimal hash. And this is going to be able to add the A through F and the 0 through 9. So it's going to be able to add that. And then when we print it out, we're going to print. So you remember the print statement, and we're going to print hash dig, because we already initiate this variable to equal to block hash, so we don't need to print that out. And then when we do that, we got ourselves a hash right here. So you see right here. So we got our hash, 64 characters long, 16 times 2, 64 bits. 64 characters, and you'll see A through F and 0 through 9, and they all numbers. So I just wanted to close it out like that. Close this episode like that. Well, it was fun doing this. We'll do a more challenging one later on, but we gotta close it out. We'll close it out with a little instrumental tunes. Make sure you follow at Trade Digital. Follow Trade Digital. I'm doing a course, blockchain course, and I'm also teaching people how to code and also get their entry level certification. So make sure you tap in and you get after it. So that's it for this episode. My name is Trade Digital. This is a late night coding session. I hope everybody enjoy. Peace out.